Sweetly swoo, how'd you do guys? This is Powerhouse Pancham, and today guys I'm bringing you a presentation on how to build a Pokemon team by yours truly Powerhouse Pancham. Guys, I've changed my intro back to Swiggity swoo, how would you do? Cause it's so much cooler. That's all I have to say. So, as we move on, choosing the Pokemon. Always choose 6 Pokemon, never bring 5 or 4, it makes it easier for your opponent to predict what you're going to bring, and also it gives you less coverage, which really isn't a thing to have. Start off by choosing a core or mega evolution. I've made a video on how to make a core, or even if you're stuck, just make a mega evolution and then just work around it. What I usually do is that when I pop an idea into my head, usually when I'm having a shower or when like the most inappropriate time to think of Pokemon, for example in exams, I always think of a nice core, so maybe like Follow Me Clefairy with Eviolite and then Dragon Dance Salamence and whatnot. Think about popular Pokemon in the meta and how your team can beat them. So basically, if you can't beat Kangaskhan, then wish your chances of becoming world champion goodbye, because that's not gonna happen. Because Kangaskhan is everywhere. They're like a vermin. No, I'm being serious. Like they're everywhere. Does your team have a weakness to a popular Pokemon? Basically, if you're weak to Kangaskhan, then yet again, wish your chances of winning the world championships goodbye. So, on to basic structure. Basic structure. Choose in between 2 and 3 sweepers. Basically, a sweeper is a Pokemon that's there to hit Okos or just hit your opponent really hard, but they're not usually bulky unless you really give like a bulkier one choice scarf. But I really like sweepers, and I usually have about 2 or even 3 if I'm feeling very offensive. 2 support slash bulky Pokemon, so for example Sylveon and Amoongus, really bulky Pokemon. Sylveon can dish out a lot of attacks, but Amoongus has access to Rage Powder and Spore that make it a really nice Pokemon to use as support. And 1/2 bulky powerhouses. What I mean by this, I mean something like a Pokemon that can take a hit then dish one out twice as bad. So, for example, Sylveon, again, is in this example, because it has 130 base special defense, 90 HP, and 110 special attack. It can take a hit and then dish it back out, and it goes for the same with Metagross, I guess. Metagross, and like normal Metagross, or even Mega Metagross, I haven't checked its stats. Basically, Mega Metagross is absurd, and Metagross pretty much has like a little bit lower base stats, but it can get access to something like Weakness Policy, and that Pokemon is used to take a hit and dish it back out. Asian Slash is also a really good example as well. So I usually try to go for right. Let's start this over. I usually try going for I usually try going for 4 specially attacking and 2 physically attacking Pokemon because of Intimidate and Burn Chat. Guys, you do not realize how many times I've tried to record this. So burn is such a big thing, and if you didn't know what it does, it halves your attack if you are burned by Pokemon, and it's really bad for like Kangaskhan, Bisharp, Landorus, whatnot. Continued. Sweepers should have a base speed of 80 plus, so if they have something like 60 or 70, then you should try shoving like a Focus Sash or Life Orb or Choice Scarf onto that Pokemon. Support Pokemon should have HP and defensive around 80 plus and should have a variety of moves to help this, as well as small weaknesses. So like I said before, with Amoongus, Rage Powder, Spore, and basically you get Pokemon like Dusclops that has like a huge defense and special defense of like 130 or 40, but then it has like 45 base HP. That doesn't matter because at least it has like another stat to make up for its HP. Bulky Pokemon should be considered to have decent all-round stats with a big attacking stat. So for example, Sylveon and Metagross, as I mentioned before. Moves and abilities to consider. Knockoff, because Knockoff knocks off the item. Scald and Will-O-Wisp for the burn opportunity against physical attackers. Rock Psychic hits both opponents and it's really good against Charizard White and Talonflame. Icy Wind slash Ice Beam, because Landorus, Salamence and Garchomp are really weak to that. They're 4 times weak. Also it just hits other flying types and just other Pokemon. Earthquake is a really nice move to have, and also Rage Powder. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to move that. Also, other abilities to have is Intimidate, Defiant slash Competitive, which boosts your attack or special attack by 2 when a stat is lowered. Weather slash Trick Room, so that's like rain, sun, sand, or hail, and Trick Room's also sort of like a weather condition, but you have to set that up. Levitate, especially like Pokemon that are immune to Earth, that's what it is. Pixelate slash Aerial Weight, so Pokemon that are like basically if they use a normal type move, it's then turned into a like a fairy type move if it's Pixelate, or a flying type move if it's Aerial. Mega Salamence and Pinsir both get access to Aerial. Storm Drain / Lightning Rod, so they draw in like attacks to them, like saying if your opponent decides to go for an electric type move and you have a Raichu on the field with Lightning Rod, that attack goes straight to Raichu. Or even Voltage Absorb and Water Absorb, moves like that. So, items and natures. You always want to choose like stuff that is very common, so choice Scarf, Band, or Specs. So choice items are really nice to have. They times your speed, special attack, or attack by 1.5 times. You want Life Orb. Life Orb is a 1.3 times more damage output, but it takes away a tenth of your max HP. Focus Sash, Citrus Berry / Leftovers, Lumberry, Rocky Helmet, Safety Goggles, and natures to consider is Adamant / Jolly, Modest or Timid, Calm / Careful, Impish and Bold, or stuff like Naive and Naughty Nature, which actually mean like it's easier for specially attacking Pokemon to use. EV spreads. EV spreads do not always have to be complicated. Basically, in a lot of my VGC teams, I do not use complicated EV spreads. I really only do EV spreads for bulky / support Pokemon, and will usually have an EV spread to survive a certain attack. Think of Pokemon that OHKOs your Pokemon, make it so it can't OHKO it. So basically, an example of me is, I thought about Mega Manectric. I made a Politoed once and I thought Mega Manectric, and I let it survive a modest Thunderbolt from a Mega Manectric with my Politoed, and invested all the rest into special attack and defense. Also, I made it have enough special attack so it takes out a Kangaskhan in 2 hits with a Scald, and burn chances are also there. A good starting point to survive is an Adamant Double Edge from a Kangaskhan, or a Spec Draco Meteor from Hydreigon, because these two basically cover the whole of the power base of Pokemon. So basically, if you can survive an Adamant Double Edge from a Kangaskhan and you don't resist it, it's a neutral hit. That means you can pretty much survive anything for a neutral hit. So that's what it basically means. Also, have a way to beat Dark Void Smeargle. I know everybody hates it. I hate it, to be honest, but it's such a funny thing to like troll your opponent with. And ways to beat a Fake Out, which actually has a 100% chance to finish your opponent. However, you can only use it on the first turn you switch in. Taunt, which actually stops your opponent from using status moves such as Dark Void. Choice Scarf, such as double kicking Terrakion, because it breaks the Focus Sash if it has one, and it hits twice and it also outspeeds it. Double hitting moves, so for example double kick as I just said before, or even double edge from Kangaskhan, and even Lumberry that actually prevents status moves. So if your Terrakion has Lumberry and your opponent decides to go for a Dark Void, you wake up on the same turn and then you kill your opponent with a a double kick. And guys, Pokemon do not die. They do not die, they survive, they faint. They faint. Weaknesses and strengths of a team. Always have a way to beat all / most of the top 12 Pokemon. I will leave a list in the description below. Make sure your Pokemon have access to all the basic elements, so Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, you get what I mean. Make sure your team doesn't have a significant weakness to a typing, so Rock typing is a really big one, or even Earth. Your team can use teammagma.net to find your team's weaknesses, and having a couple of unbalanced weaknesses isn't the end of the world, to be honest. A lot of my teams have like a outstanding weakness, but not by a huge amount. Basically it has like 2 weaknesses and 1 resistance, which isn't that bad. And I'll leave a link to teammagma.net in the description below. And having non-meta Pokemon isn't always a terrible thing. For example, having Defiant Braviary to take out Landorus is a nice idea, because it gets a Defiant boost due to Intimidate. Sorry about that again. And basically it can then Brave Bird against Landorus to take it out, and you can EV it to survive a Rock side from it. And yeah, so that's it guys. So other tips also is to practice is the best way to learn the meta. So the VGC meta is very simple, to be honest, and just playing a lot of games allows you to learn it. Sorry about that again. The best way to win it is to lose. So if you lose a lot, that's fine, because you're learning at the same time and that helps you win in the future. If you're on a bad streak, take a break. I've done this too many times, and just take a break guys, even for like a day or so. It really helps out. And try out new Pokemon consistently. So if you don't like Rotom Wash, then try out Suicune. If you don't like Suicune, try out Politoed, and so on and so forth. So that's my video guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I put a bit of effort into this, so make sure you show me that you enjoyed it. So thanks for watching guys, go check out my other content, and goodbye.